Hello. It's absolutely freezing today. I've been out and I didn't have any gloves, so I couldn't do a walk-in thingy because I couldn't hold the camera because I've got neuropathy in my hands and my feet. It was too cold, so I'm in the car and I'm going home and I'm going to have something warm to eat. But yeah, yesterday I got sidetracked. So I was going to do a talk about anxiety, and it's a thing that I don't have much technical knowledge of, although I've probably, I studied as a social worker and specialised a little bit in mental health. And I did diploma in counselling as well along the way. So I have, and I've worked in sort of the field of addiction for lots and lots of years. So when I say I haven't got much experience, I'm not a doctor. But I have got personal experience of these things. What I wanted to do is, I think there's a book called As Bill Sees It. It's a little book that's various writings of Bill Wilson. So it does ABC. It goes through the alcohol and through the alphabet, and it says it gives his opinion or whatever on various subjects. So starting like with A, so it might be abstinence, and it might actually be anxiety and acceptance and stuff like that. So and it gives you bits in various things that he's written, including the Big Book and Language of the Heart. I don't know, loads of things. I don't know if he wrote that, to be honest, but various things that he wrote or said on the different things. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. But obviously, not writing. I can do writing, but it's easier just to talk about stuff that There's lots of things. Like I said, I don't know much about this, but I have an opinion on it. Like most of my things, there's loads and loads and loads of stuff. In fact, most stuff I don't know much about, and yet I still have an opinion on it, which is, I think, a human thing. We don't know much about it, but we've got an opinion. And my opinions, I don't know about yours, but my opinions, I think are facts. They're not facts, they're just my opinion, but I think they're facts. So, yeah, I have an opinion on anxiety. So we want to start on A, right? Anxiety is a good one. My personal experience of anxiety was I was very anxious as a child. In fact, probably fearful of a lot of things. But public humiliation was probably the biggest one, and that it caused me to not do stuff. There was a lot of stuff that I would have liked to have done, but I ran away from it because I was scared and anxious. So I avoided stuff, but I can remember being terrified. My mum didn't get this, and me older sisters and stuff didn't get it, but when they sent me to the shops, I had to go on the shops. And there were kids, a little bit older than me who used to hang about the shops, and some of the girls used to go, Johnny, ooh, and all this. And I had a snorkel coat and I had it zipped up. So, like Kenny out of South Park, I just had this little sort of periscope vision that I could see through this little gap. And I'd scuttle past them like I was on casters and, go and get me. But my mind would be going so frantic and full of unreasonable, irrational fear that I'd get into the co-op and I'd forget what I came for, So I'd have to leave our house, which was 2 minutes, a minute to the shops, and I'd be saying, I'd only have to go for 2-3 things: £2 of sugar, a loaf, £5 of butter. And I'd be sort of saying it, £2 of butter, £0.5 a loaf. And by the time I got there, or by the time I got past the kids, I'd completely forgot what I was going for. And I'd be in a panic again, sort of going back home, feeling stupid and and knowing that I'd have to come back and, someone that did go mad about having to write a list for 3 things. And they would, but yeah, there's loads of instances where I was, very painfully shy. I'm not sure it was anxiety, but it felt crippling at times. And that the anxiety went away as soon as I found alcohol, and that was very effective, and it changed me completely. My personality is normally introvert, quite shy and blah blah blah, although I don't know if you get shy people making these daft videos. I just think it's a way to diary me thoughts, and for people to remember me when I'm gone. This is a bit sad, but people to remember me when I'm gone. So, yeah, anxiety. So I lived most of my life drunk until I was 26, and I finally stopped drinking. And I did my steps with an old boy called John Knoll originally, and we did it very fast, and I didn't understand much of what went on, but we went through the book, and I did a fearless and thorough moral inventory, and I was fearless. And after that, we got to step 6, and he kept it very simple. And he said, do you know what your defects are? And I said, no, not really. So we looked at the 7 deadly sins, and he said, you suffer with a lot of these, and you have to learn to actually detest. See, you have to do like a step 1. You have to see him as a problem, and then first, and then want rid of him second, and then you need to hate them to humbly ask God to relieve them. You need to really hate being like you are. So it's very, very hard that, so he said, have you got any questions? And I said, yeah, I have. I said, it's all well and good this, John. We did a lot of work at sort of pseudo-psychiatry and counselling. He was, he was a good man, and he was interested in sort of helping, and he knew that the illness I suffered from centered in the mind, and so we did some stuff on like where I picked up all my ideas, and at the end of it though, I said to him, it's all well and good this, John, but I've got an anxiety disorder. He lived in Urmston, Davyhulme, somewhere like that, Flixton way. And I said, I've had to get on and off 3 buses coming here today. I've got on, but, someone give me a dirty look and I got panicked and had to get off. And I thought I was sitting weird. I thought I was, and people were looking at the way I was sitting. And anyway, I stood up for no reason. There was plenty of spare seats. And I thought, oh no, they think I'm a lunatic. I am a lunatic. Let's get off the bus. So I got off the bus again. But it was like my whole life was under a microscope, and I found it difficult to get through the day. My life was complicated, and I was full of fear and anxiety all the time. Without a drink, life neat was way too tough for me. And I thought, I didn't hold out much hope that these step things would work, But I said, yeah, I've got this anxiety disorder. So he said, who's told you that? Have you seen a psychiatrist or something? Anxiety disorders weren't as popular then as they are now. But I said, no. So he says, well, who's told you? I said, I know I've got it. I'd read The Woman's Own or something like that, and I decided for myself that, have you got an anxiety disorder? Yeah, I've got one. So I said, yeah, I've got this anxiety disorder. So he said, right, John was famous in the Northwest for doing the steps quickly. He used to take people through the sort of steps in a day or 2 days. Yeah, with me, it was 2 days. But he, there's a lot of people in the fellowship who sort of said, you can't do that. You're doing more harm than good. But he sort of insisted that people need to do the steps, and they need to do them quickly, and they need to start understanding the illness that they suffer from. And it was a start, it was a start. But he said, he said, I've done the steps with people, and I've heard their inventory, and he probably did 2 a week, sort of for the last, he was about 25 years sober then, but he probably done 2 a week for the last 12 years, 15 years, so we're talking 1,500 people or something like that, well over 1,000. He says, I've taken lots and lots of people through the steps, and of all those people, you are by far the most vain, self-obsessed person, that I've met. And he said, and I've seen some doozies, I've seen some real psychopaths, but you take the biscuit, my son. And I thought, I was offended, I was offended at first, but I thought, maybe you're right. So I said, so what do we do about this? So he said, right, there's nothing you can do about an anxiety disorder, but if you're vain and self-obsessed, you need to initially pray for God, because you can't relieve yourself of it. You need to pray that God can relieve you of this pain, and it is painful. And if you seek, you'll probably find the answers. So I went to a healing the following week. I was praying on it every day, and it didn't really seem to be getting any better. And I was thinking, John, you fool, now sort of. And I went to this healing mass in Manchester, like I forgot what it's called, but it was a big church, and there was loads of Portuguese priests who were very charismatic, and the church was packed, and it was full of people who were desperately looking to be healed. It was a healing mass, and they were going up to the front, and the priests were laying hands on their heads and going, talking. You don't know what they call it, in tongues or something like that. And the people were filled with the Holy Spirit, and they were dropping like 9-pins and on the deck. And I was terrified. I thought, oh my God, how can they do that? And this lad next to me said, are you going up? I said, I'm here. No. I said, I can't imagine the sort of humiliation of sort of blanking out in front of people. What if I lost control of my bladder, or shit me pants or something like that? This is madness. This is madness. This is where I was at the time. And I sort of heard the things coming out of my mouth, and that's exactly what I went to get. I went to get relief from this self-obsession and this vanity. So I sort of prayed then, please, I'm so fed up of this. It's just, can you please take it away? And I was nearly crying. And I left there disillusioned and a bit sad, thinking nothing's going to work for me. And I went about my business, whatever that was, the following day. And I went through the day with nothing happening, nothing sort of stands out as being memorable or anything like that. But at 7 p.m. the following night, I was going to a meeting in Manchester again, and I was walking down Oldham Street, and I turned and looked at one of the shop windows, and I was checking myself out in one of the shop windows, and I did look good, to be honest. I looked in there, I said, yeah, and it just dawned on me in a flash. That was the first time that day that I'd thought about how I looked or how I, seemed. And I'd had a day of peace, absolute peace and serenity. Maybe I was just doing normal stuff, but normal for me was something that I thought was unattainable. I thought I was abnormal, and I had this free-floating anxiety that just was flying around like a ghost or something. The ghost of anxiety, and it thought, oh, I'll have him, and it just poosh, and it wasn't, and it's only to the point where I really, really wanted rid of it, and I saw it as a problem that something started happening. So yeah, I continued to pray on it, and it dissipated. And the more I hated it, the more I got less of it. So yeah, that was. I'm not saying I don't get anxious now. I do on occasion, but it's not as bad as it was. So yeah, that's anxiety. I'm going to do. My mate asked me, did I think I was ADHD the other day? And I said, yeah, probably. And a little bit on the spectrum as well. So there's another A, autism. But I'll leave them for another time. So, like I say, I don't know much about this, but what I do know is anxiety is terrible, crippling. And if you've got it, it's awful. In my experience, which is strange, I was able to cope with it. So I'll leave it at that, and I don't even think I'll publish this one. I think this will just go into the archives for people to watch after I'm gone. So love you, and see you soon. Bye bye.